Back with this image again. This is going to be part 3. This is the last bit I do with this image. We're still going to look at the skin, and we're going to look at a different way of selecting the skin. And we're going to go across here to the magic wand tool and the quick selection tool. We'll look at the quick selection tool first of all. It's on plus mode. I've got it at 10. I'll just click on auto enhance just to help things along again. Let Photoshop do a bit of work for me. I'm just going to mouse down and I'm going to select that area there. And you can see there we've selected it. If we hold down the Alt key, we can take things out when we mouse down. So that's the Alt key with the Option key. And if you're on a Mac, I can just remove those. Same with the teeth as well. Hold down the Alt, the Option key, just go in there and mouse down, and we've created a selection. You know what we can do with a selection? We can create a mask. So let's just copy that layer. So I'm going to drag it down this time and then click on the mask icon, and that's going to show us the white to reveal, the black to conceal. So through that white part of the mask area we can apply something, and we're going to apply a blend mode. See, nothing's happening so far. We've just applied that. I'm going to do the same thing again, this time with the magic wand tool. I'll keep the tolerance of 32, keep it contiguous. I'm not going to sample all layers. I'm just on the background layer again, and I've got a point sample, and I'm just going to click in there, and that gives me in the marching ants area. If I hold down the Alt key again, that takes things away. If I hold the Shift key down, that will add to the selection area. So if I hold the Alt or Option key down, that'll take things away. If I hold the Shift key, that will add to my selection. You see, it's quite a variable. You can go around adding and taking things away. And you can see that it's works quite well with this image. Let's just copy that. So let's drag it down again to the layer icon, make a copy of it, stick a mask on it. The selection then becomes our mask. So we have two quick ways there of selecting the skin. Well, I've shown you some other ways of doing it in the past, and we'll have a look at the different ways in which. Let's just have a comparative view of these masks here. Surprisingly enough, the magic wand appears to have created a better detail mask. Up to you to play around with it. Play around with your tolerance, and you might find it slightly differently work with a colour image. So I can put this one straight into overlay blend mode. You see there it's very white, but if we put a blur on it, and this time I'm going to put surface blur on rather than putting a Gaussian blur on, and you can see that I've got a relationship between the radius and the threshold of about 10 times. I've found that really if you work with that sort of ratio, you get a pretty decent looking blur on skin. So even if it's 20 to 200, 10 to 10, 6 to 64, you'll get a reasonable blurring on the skin with that surface blur technique as opposed to the Gaussian blur technique. So that's one little thing to do there. Again, of course, you can fine-tune things by going up down your opacity, and as well you can actually go into your mask and paint on your mask, which you do with probably a very soft black paintbrush, and have it at 30. Let's just get these out of the way because I want to show you something else. Moving on quickly as usual, let's drag these down and throw them in the bin. And I'm going to work on this background layer again, and I'll do something completely different this time. I'm going to copy this layer again, so just Control J, Command J on a PC. I'm going to invert, which is Control I, Command I, so I've inverted this image, and I'm going down to Filter, not blur this time, but down to the bottom to Other and High Pass. Now High Pass, I'm working on quite a small file here. It's not too big. You see down the bottom there, it's 1 megapixel. You might work on a bigger file. Just play around with the radius. For this size file, that size radius is fine. I'm going to put in soft light blend mode. And you can see there, we're using an inverted high pass. I know it's starting to sound like Chinese again. If I stick a black mask on there, which is hold down the Alt key when you click down on the mask icon, that will give you a black filled mount. Let's just disable that so you can see what's going on. Gentle softening going on. So you might want to play around with the radius on the high pass. Again, because it's a black mask, I'm going to choose white as my foreground colour. Still keep the brush at 30% and gently waft around on the mask, bringing that softness through from that inverted high pass layer. So just painting around. See how exciting it is to see somebody paint on the internet. Not very exciting at all, but you can change the opacity of the brush. I've taken that to 60% by pressing the 6 on my keyboard. That will increase the opacity of this brush to 60%. It's flexible because you're working on a mask. You can go back in again with black paint and take things out, and you can see that you get a very subtle In fact, you can hardly see it there, but it's working. A very subtle skin softening technique. And if we just click off the background there, you can actually see the area where we've applied that inverted high pass layer in soft light blend mode to our background. So we're going to call it a day, I think, on that skin softening. That's I've shown you lots of techniques. One will suit you, I'm sure it will. Remember to play around, have a look at the opacities, look at the tolerances, play with soft light, hard light, and overlay. And that's been me. So until the next time, bye for now.